Hey guys, today we're going to be reading a few more chapters from our book, The One and Only Ivan. So go ahead and turn with me to page 21. Last time we left off after the chapter called Imagination. So we're going to read from page 21 to page 29 today. Okay, the first chapter we're going to read is called The Loneliest Gorilla in the World on page 21. When the Big Top Mall was first built, it smelled of new paint and fresh hay, and humans came to visit from morning till night. They drifted past my domain like logs on a lazy river. Lately, a day might go by without a single visitor. Max says he's worried. He says I'm not cute anymore. He says, "Ivan, you've lost your magic, old guy. You used to be a hit." It's true that some of my visitors don't linger the way they used to. They stare through the glass, they cluck their tongues, they frown while I watch my TV. He looks lonely, they say. Not long ago, a little boy stood before my glass, tears streaming down his smooth red cheeks. "He must be the loneliest gorilla in the world," he said, clutching his mother's hand. At times like that, I wish humans could understand me the way I can understand them. "It's not so bad," I wanted to tell the little boy. "With enough time, you can get used to almost anything." So we're going to pause right there for just a minute. Because in your journals, last time, you guys filled out this question page. And I want you to skip a page for some purple slips. And on the next page, you're going to find the page that looks like this. It says, read to the end of the chapter called The Loneliest Gorilla in the World. That's the chapter that we just finished. Ivan says, with enough time, you can get used to almost anything. Write about a time in your life where you had to get used to a new change. It can be a big or a small event. So you're going to glue this paper into your Ivan notebook and go ahead and put your name on it. And be thinking about a time where you had to get used to something. Okay? It can be something big. It can be something small. Let's see. What should mine be? Here's one. I had to get used to being married. It was really weird at first to live with someone other than my parents. I had to learn to share my stuff. I'm still learning that. I'm not that good at that sometimes. I had to learn not to leave my mess everywhere. I'm still not good at that either. And I had to learn to care about someone other than myself. I think we're all still learning that. Now, as you know, you do not always have to fill up your entire page. However, this really wasn't that much writing. This was like 2 sentences. So you can fill up that whole section. You need to write enough that I actually understand what you're saying. And then at the bottom, my writing is neat and easy for others to read. Okay, this is not my neatest handwriting. So maybe I need to go back and fix a couple of things. Like this S doesn't look like an S. This word is kind of sloppy. My writing makes sense. Yes. My response begins by restating part or all of the question or prompt. Yes, because if you look in here, I said I had to get used to, and it said write about a time when you had to get used to something. I have used all or most of the lines to write my response. Yes, I did use most of them. I used all of them. I have proofread my work to see that the words are spelled correctly, especially the words from the text. Yep. And if there was any that I didn't know, remember, you can always circle them, and then you can check them later. I have proofread my work. Okay, just did that one. My sentences begin with capitals and end with correct punctuation. Yep, I got one here, and a period, and I have a capital here, and a period. All right, so once you've done that page in your journal, which if you remember, you did your question page, you skipped this page to put some purple papers in, and then this page was the one I just did with you, about the loneliest gorilla in the world. Now we can go on to our next chapter. So this time we're going to finish reading all the way to page 29. All right, page 23, TV. My visitors are often surprised when they see the TV Mac put in my domain. They seem to find it odd, the sight of a gorilla staring at tiny humans in a box. Sometimes I wonder, though, isn't the way they stare at me, sitting in my tiny box, just as strange? My TV is old. It doesn't always work, and sometimes days will go by before anyone remembers to turn it on. I'll watch anything, but I'm particularly fond of cartoons, with their bright jungle colors. I especially enjoy it when someone slips on a banana peel. Bob, my dog friend, loves TV almost as much as I do. He prefers to watch professional bowling and cat food commercials. Bob and I have seen many romance movies too. In a romance, there's much hugging and sometimes face licking. What do you think they meant by that? I have yet to see a single romance starring a gorilla. We also enjoy old Western movies. In a Western, someone always says, "This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Sheriff." In a Western, you can tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and the good guys always win. Bob says Westerns are nothing like real life. That's kind of sad. Page 25, The Nature Show. I have been in my domain for 9,855 days. Alone. For a while, when I was young and foolish, I thought I was the last gorilla on Earth. I tried not to dwell on it. Still, it's hard to stay upbeat when you think there are no more of you. Then one night, after I watched a movie about men in black hats with guns and feeble-minded horses, a different show came on. It was not a cartoon, not a romance, not a Western. I saw a lush forest. I heard birds murmuring. The grass moved. The trees rustled. Then I saw him. He was a bit threadbare and scrawny, and not as good-looking as I am, to be honest. But sure enough, he was a gorilla. And suddenly as he'd appeared, the gorilla vanished, and in his place was a scruffy white animal called, I learned, a polar bear, and then a chubby water creature called a manatee, and then another animal, and another. All night I sat wondering about the gorilla I'd glimpsed. Where did he live? Would he ever come to visit? If there was a he somewhere, could there be a she as well? Or was it just the two of us, all in the world, trapped in our own separate boxes? Page 27. Stella. Stella says she is sure I will see another gorilla, live gorilla, someday. And I believe her because she is even older than I am and has black eyes like stars and knows more than I will ever know. Stella is a mountain. Next to her, I am a rock, and Bob is a grain of sand. Every night when the stores close and the moon washes the world with milky light, Stella and I talk. We don't have much in common, but we have enough. We are huge and alone, and we both love yogurt raisins. Sometimes Stella tells stories of her childhood, of leafy canopies, hidden by mist and the busy songs of flowing water. Unlike me, she recalls every detail of her past. Stella loves the moon with its untroubled smile. I love the feel of the sun on my belly. She says, "It is quite a belly, my friend," and I say, "Thank you, and so is yours." We talk, but not too much. Elephants, like gorillas, do not waste words. Stella used to perform in a large and famous circus, and she still does some of those tricks for our show. During one stunt, Stella stands on her hind legs while Snickers jumps on her head. It's hard to stand on your hind legs when you weigh more than 40 men. If you're a circus elephant and you stand on your hind legs while a dog jumps on your head, you get a treat. If you do not, the claw stick comes swinging. Elephant hide is thick as bark on an ancient tree, but a claw stick can pierce it like a leaf. Once, Stella saw a trainer hit a bull elephant with a claw stick. A bull is like a silverback, noble, contained, calm like a cobra is calm. When the claw stick caught in the bull's flesh, he tossed the trainer into the air with his tusk. The man flew, Stella said, like an ugly bird. She never saw the bull again. Okay, that's where we're going to stop for today. So the next page that you're going to do, you just did the page on this side. Okay, that was this one. Whoops. Let's see if we can get to focus. Maybe. There we go. So you just did this page. And so now on the page next to it, we just read to the end of the chapter called Stella. It says, good readers think about characters and their actions. You don't know him that well yet, but how do you feel about Ivan so far? So if it's asking a question, how do you feel? Is there a right or wrong answer? No. This is just about how you feel about Ivan based on what you've read so far. Do you think he's funny? Do you think he's happy? Do you think he's sad? Do you think he's lonely? Do you think he loves his domain? What do you think about him? And you can think more than one thing. Don't just say, I think he's happy. Tell me how you think he feels and why. How do you feel about him and why? You can tell me as much as you want because remember at the bottom it says I have used all or most of the lines. So you got to put some thinking into this. There's not a right or wrong answer. I just need to know how you feel about Ivan, okay? So I'm not going to answer this one because I don't want to give you any ideas of mine. I will share how I answered later whenever I get back. So go ahead and this page is going to go on the right hand side of your journal. So in your journal you had the questions page you did last week, leaving this one blank for purple slips. This page is the one that was about getting used to something. And this side is the one about how do you feel about Ivan so far. Okay? And that is it for today for Ivan.